Rattler Vlog, episode 55. Jennifer Saj, women's volleyball, joining us right now. Hey guys, hope you're having a great night. We took the week off last week with the Rattler Vlog, but we're back this week. I'm not sure how many we have this week, but at least this one. And we're lining up more right now. So if you're a student athlete or alumni, we would love to get you on. It'd be a blast. So without further ado, let's get connected with Jennifer and what is going on in her world these days. Hey,
Hello. How are
Jennifer,
you?
how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Sorry.
Good. Uh, looks like I got a little buddy here.
Aw, cute.
He got attacked by a porcupine yesterday.
Oh no, that's awful.
So he spent a few hours at the vet yesterday, and he's not had a good couple of days, but he's feeling a lot better
Aw,
now. So he's doing good. He's doing good.
that's good.
You're a dog lover as well. You've got
I am.
Jasper. What is it? What's your dog's
His
name?
name is Jersey.
Jersey. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Jersey is a little bit older though.
he is. He just turned 12 like last week, I think.
Okay.
hmm
Back home in Manitoba, or where's he at?
Yeah, he lives with my parents, so in Winnipeg.
Okay. Good.
hmm
All right, so let's jump right in here. First of all, I want to ask you about your last name.
Sure.
What is the correct pronunciation, and what is the ancestry there? Because I got to admit, I've never seen that last name before.
Sure, yeah. So it's pronounced Sag. A lot of people say like Sag, or I have some cousins actually who pronounce it Sai, and there's a couple other families in Manitoba who pronounce it Sai, but the origins are Ukrainian. So I've heard some like different things, like it used to be like Sajkowski, and then it got like shortened over time, but yeah, it's Ukrainian and it's quite unique.
So
Mhm.
how Ukrainian is your family then, with your customs and traditions and everything else there? Is that something that is quite prevalent in your life?
I wouldn't say overly, like a bit. So my grandpa's parents are the ones who came over from the Ukraine, so it's kind of removed. Like I never really had a chance to meet them, but we do like eat pierogies and like cabbage rolls. So I guess like the food is still there, but we don't really do too many other traditions.
So you don't celebrate like the second week of January, like you don't have a different Christmas and other stuff like that
Um,
then?
we always like, well, I guess we kind of do. Like my parents are always like, "Oh, Ukrainian Christmas," but we don't really like do anything in terms of like food for that. We'll just like acknowledge the day.
Well,
hmm
two Christmases is a blast. I mean, I'd do that too if
Yeah,
I could, right? All
for
right.
sure. Yeah.
So, tell me about you as a kid. Tell me about your family and your siblings, and what life was like when you were, just a little one.
Sure. So I guess I grew up in Winnipeg for basically my whole life. We lived in like a small town just outside of Winnipeg for like 2 years, but quickly moved back into the city because it was just easier. Um, I have one sister, and she's currently moved out as well. She lives in Ottawa now. And but we were always really close growing up, so we always like played together. Um, in Winnipeg, there's lots of like I don't know, just like tourist attractions and stuff. So we would do those, and we would always spend like the summer at my grandparents' house. And
Hmm.
yeah. Mhm.
So, what is she doing in Ottawa then?
She's pursuing a master's in something related to sociology. She has an undergrad in sociology, so now she's pursuing her master's there. So we actually just moved her there in the summer.
Good. So, what do you miss the most about Winnipeg? I mean, I've only been there a couple of
Oh,
times, and I mean, you hear all the things about Winterpeg and how it's so cold and everything else there. But the thing is, anyone I've ever met from Winnipeg thinks that it is the greatest city in the world. They love
hmm.
Winnipeg. So what is it about Winnipeg that you love so much, and why that loyalty to Winnipeg the way we see from a lot of Winnipeggers?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know if I would say it's the greatest city in the world. Like, I definitely have liked moving away and getting to see new cities.
Yeah.
But there are some things that I definitely miss. Of course, like my family. But there's definitely some cool things. I think it kind of gets overlooked. Like when people think of Manitoba, they're like, oh, like I don't know. There's some cool like touristy things. Like one of the big things is the Fork. So it's like right where like the Assiniboine River meets the Red River, and it used to be like it used to be like a trading post kind of thing, but now they have like a market there. And then there's actually like a river trail, so we compete with like the Rideau Canal in Ottawa for having like the longest like river trail for skating in the winters, and that's a big thing because it's super cold in Winnipeg. So that's a big like winter thing, and then it's also open this summer. So like that's one of the main things. There's like lots of good like local restaurants and like bakeries, so I would also say that. So like that's a big thing when I go home. Like we always get like treats and stuff like that.
Do you find that Winnipeggers are more friendly, just based on the fact that from November until March, they're hunkered down and they're protecting themselves from the cold. And when they do get a chance to get out and enjoy the beautiful weather, they just kind of associate with each other that much more. Would you say that's an accurate statement?
Yeah, I would actually. Like, it's funny, our license plate says like friendly Manitoba. And I think that, I mean, it's cheesy, but it really describes the people from Manitoba and Winnipeg. Everyone who I've met, like I've actually had the chance to meet some like Winnipeggers while I've been away, like living in Medicine Hat and when I lived in Olds as well. And they're all just like super nice people. So it's nice to connect with some even outside of the city.
Good. John Taylor Collegiate, home of the Pipers.
Yep.
So every high school has got maybe certain things about them that are actually pretty cool. A cool high school. You go to Hat High here, and they've got an amazing gym, and they've got like video boards and stuff, and they're really like sports focused or whatever. What is John Taylor Collegiate like, and what is the coolest aspect of that school?
That's a good question. I mean, it's one of the smaller schools in Winnipeg, probably only about like 800 students from like grade 9 to 12. So one of the smaller high schools in Winnipeg, but when it was first built, I guess they built it, well, it might have been an addition, but when I was there, like there's two gyms, so the one's like pretty big, and then the other one was a little bit smaller, but it was super nice for like practices and stuff because we always had two gyms, so it's not like you were waiting on gym time and stuff like that. And definitely known for athletics. There were a couple of years in a row, I think, that our men's basketball team won provincials. Volleyball, not as strong as like basketball. I would say it was more oriented around for a few years, or at least the ones that I was there for, but definitely like athletics. And we had a beach volleyball court in like our backfield, so like that was nice as a volleyball athlete and something kind of unique that not most high schools have.
Okay, when I hear the home of the Pipers, right, I think of like a Scottish or an Irish thing. Was that kind of the theme and the motif of your of the sports teams there?
For sure, yeah. There were a lot of, I think our motto in the gym said blood, sweat, and tartan, and it was definitely an interesting experience. I know, like at all our like graduations and like important like ceremonies, we actually had bagpipers, and it's just like
awesome.
It was something like different for me, but kind of cool to experience. And I know like in my senior year, our jerseys actually were like kind of like tartan, like plaid, so it was definitely something different that other teams didn't have.
That's pretty cool. All right, so at what point then did the opportunity in the ACAC come about? Because I mean, there was probably other schools closer to home. Why did you go across a couple of provinces to pursue your education then?
For sure, yeah. Like throughout my volleyball career, I'd always like heard from coaches like, oh, like you should play post-secondary, and like it had been something that I wanted to do, and I had thought about attending a school in Manitoba, but the league there is the MCAC, so it's a little bit smaller. Like there's only 4 teams. So I heard a lot of good things about the ACAC. So I started to look into it, and honestly, I just sent a bunch of emails to like all the coaches in the ACAC and like just waited for some emails back. And it's funny because I know that Kim was one of the first emails, but I had actually decided to go to Olds for my first year. So it was kind of funny, the year after transferring, she recognized my name and offered me a position as well.
So why did you change schools then? Because like, was there something, when you played here in Medicine Hat, was there something about the college here that led you to think, wow, what a place this is? Or was it just a matter of the academic courses that you could take here?
Yeah, it was honestly just academics. Like at the time, I was taking sports management in Olds, and it was interesting and I liked it. But what really attracted me about Medicine Hat College was their criminal justice program. And I never wanted to be a cop, but I thought that it was really like an interesting program, and I kind of like the like psychology side to it. So I went into the criminal justice program and I didn't actually end up liking it. So then I just transferred to like the university transfer arts
Hmm.
program. So then I started working towards my psychology degree, and now I'm at the University of Calgary this year, working on my undergrad in psychology.
Okay, because I was going to ask you about that,
Yeah.
what you're up to this year. So we'll get more into
Mhm.
that in just a minute. So you actually had some injury problems here during your time, a torn ACL, I understand, or
Yeah.
something to do with your ACL. What exactly happened there, and like what has that recovery been like?
Yeah. So I tore my ACL in November. I guess my first year in Medicine Hat.
Hmm.
And honestly, it was probably I never really like been injured before, and I guess I'd been very lucky, like just the odd like bumper bruise, but never a serious injury like that. So for me, it was like really difficult because I had never really had to sit out of a practice or sit out of a game, and so yeah, it was a different kind of feeling not being able to be on the court, and then just with the whole like ACL, it's such a like a long recovery
Hmm.
process, and you also have to wait so long for surgery. So I got injured in November and I didn't have my surgery till May, and then they estimated it as like a 9 month recovery. So
Oh,
I was actually back in February like last year, but so I don't think that was quite 9 months, or it would have been just before 9 months. I think I was back, but yeah, definitely a long process, and just the waiting for surgery I think was just the toughest part for me because I just thought, oh, if I could get
mhm.
my surgery, then it would just be so much quicker. But
So leading up to surgery, like what is the feeling like? Is there a lot of pain? Like it's basically in your knee area, right?
yeah, like the initial pain is I've never felt something like it before. So that it
Hmm.
was painful for probably like the first month or so, and especially because we didn't really know what it was for the first little bit. So I had to get an MRI, and then finally once we found out that it was my ACL, like by that time it wasn't very painful, I wouldn't say, and like for the months leading up to the surgery, like almost no pain at all. Like once the swelling goes down from the initial injury, then like you
Hmm.
basically have no pain. It just they like caution you to not do too much physical
Right,
activity or like moving side to side because you're just not stable on it. But
right.
really no pain up until surgery. But then again, after surgery, it's quite painful, and like you're swollen again, and it's not too fun.
I bet. I bet. So it
Mhm.
just you just kind of have that feeling that you have a wonky knee. Is that it? You're just like you're really careful all the time and you don't want to
Yeah, yeah,
twist
I
your
think
knee
that's
or anything?
also yeah, the mental part of it too, right? Like
Hmm.
you undergo the pain for the first time and you're like, oh, I never want that again. So then you're just so cautious, but
Yeah.
then you just have to learn to trust yourself and trust your body.
Yeah. But do you have a wicked scar that you could brag about? Or is it all
Yeah,
orthoscopic, just like the tiny little dots there and
um, yeah, there's like a few just like little ones. You couldn't even really notice that it's a scar, but then I have one like bigger one underneath my knee, but I don't think it's too noticeable. But it makes me
ah,
look
okay.
tough, I guess.
See, for us guys, we're like, yeah, give me a good scar or whatever. But I can imagine that for the ladies, it's probably not quite like that. You actually did you did a bit of traveling over the summer, I understand. Where all did you go, and what were some of the highlights of your summer as far as the traveling is concerned?
Yeah, so I guess the big one would be moving my sister to Ottawa. So we road trip to Ottawa, and at the time, like the COVID situation in Manitoba was not very like there weren't a lot of cases in Manitoba, so we felt
Hmm.
safe to go to Ottawa, and we really didn't do too much in Ottawa. Like we helped my sister build her furniture and like get her apartment set up, but we really didn't do too much like touristy things. We walked to the Parliament buildings like one night, but we've been to Ottawa like a few times, so
Hmm.
for that time we were just trying to keep it low key. And then actually when we got home from Ottawa, there was the regulation in Manitoba that you have to self isolate for 2 weeks, like being out east. So then we
Yep.
spent 2 weeks just in our house self isolating, which was definitely an experience, but we made it through. And then other places I went, I guess me and my friends went camping in Saskatchewan just because they lived in Alberta and then I live in Manitoba. And then we have some friends that live in Saskatchewan, so we just went camping at a provincial park there, and it was just for a
Yep.
weekend. Hmm.
So, with the traveling to Ottawa and Saskatchewan, did your parents actually try to dissuade you and say, "There's a pandemic, you should probably just stay here, stay put"? Were they
Um,
did they try to be protective in that way?
like at the start, like we definitely, because I came home like right when the pandemic kind of like started and lockdown
Hmm.
started. So then it was like no travel, and I didn't want to travel then. I was like, no, like, but Manitoba was honestly super good about it, and they put up those travel restrictions with the self-isolation. And so we wouldn't have gone to Ottawa if my sister didn't need to move, but
Yeah.
because she did, like that was kind of a necessary thing, and we took the right precautions to do that and self-isolate. And then when we went camping, it was they didn't really say too much because by that time the travel restrictions from Manitoba were lifted, and
Yeah.
it's not like we were in a city, like we were just in a provincial park, like we brought our own stuff in, stuff like that. But no, we've been really cautious throughout the whole thing, and even like with traveling, I get that it's a concern, so I've been trying to do my part.
Exactly. Wearing the mask, doing the thing, being the good little COVID soldiers
Yeah.
that we are, right? I got you.
For sure, yeah.
So what is your playing and your academic status this year now? You say you're actually in the at UFC then, is that right?
Yeah, so I'm at the University of Calgary, not playing volleyball for the University of Calgary, but
Hmm.
I'm on a rec team. So me and my friends put together a team. So we play every Tuesday. So I just played my first game last night. And yeah, it's fun just to get together with friends and play and like still have that activity of it.
Good.
It's for
And
sure nice, but oh, sorry.
how's the knee? Did you test it out? Is it as good as new now?
Yeah, honestly, I was a little nervous just because, like,
Yeah.
I really hadn't played since, I guess, like our provincial games. So I was like a little nervous last night, but no, I feel good, and like I'm not really sore today, so it was good.
Excellent. That's great.
Hmm.
All right. Once again, we're talking to Jennifer Sage. Did I
Yeah.
get that right? Jennifer Sage. You know what?
Hmm.
For the past couple of years, I've said Sage. So Sage
No,
is
that's
what it is. So,
okay.
all right. So what is the so with your current program then at the UFC? What is your career goal? What do you hope to be doing 5 years from now?
Yeah, so I think I have about maybe like 2.5 to 3 years left of my degree,
Hmm.
of my undergrad in psych. So once I graduate from that, I'm hoping to pursue a master in sports psych.
Ah, good for you. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Good.
Hmm.
All right, Jennifer, we always do a show and tell segment, and we warned you, we gave you a heads up that it was coming your way, and so I'm going to turn it over to you now. It could be something
Sure.
weird or quirky or hilarious or just anything that's, really sentimental to you and has a good story attached to it. So I turn it over to you.
Sure. Okay, so I guess this is more like sentimental. So this is a photo from our last like provincial game. So after our last match of the weekend.
Hmm.
So that's a picture with my friends and Carly, who also was on our team last year. So we have a couple friends from who we met in Olds. And so they all came down for the weekend and stayed at our apartment. And it was also a really special weekend because my parents came. And that was like the first game they had seen me in since I tore my ACL. They were like there for the ACL weekend and then this weekend, or the provincials weekend. And just the whole weekend was super fun, even playing with our team. And that was probably like the most that we've ever like played together and like so and having my official. And then I guess also it was kind of my last game in the ACAC, so that was super special. And yeah, just being in provincials was super cool. I had never experienced that before, so that's something special as well.
That's awesome. Let's see that picture again and tell us who's in that picture with you.
Sure. Okay, here we go. So this down here is my friend Abby, and this is my friend Kaylee, and then this is Carly. Yeah, she also played on the Rattlers, and then this is me.
Yep.
And so we all met in our first year in Olds. So in my first year, I lived with Carly and Abby, and then Carly stayed for another year in Olds, and then I convinced her to come to Medicine Hat last year. So it was super special to play with her again as well.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so looking
Mm-hmm.
back now, your time in Medicine Hat, what are you always going to really remember about your time here, maybe academically, and tell us about this whole era of your life and just what you'll look back on with such fondness here.
That's a super good question. I guess every team I play on, like just the people I meet and like the experiences we have. Like we went down to Montana like a few times, like each year, for preseason. So that was cool to road trip. And I had never actually been to Montana before, like living in Manitoba. That like we always go down to like North Dakota,
Hmm.
or Minnesota. So I had never been to Montana before. So that was super neat. And yeah, just those experiences are super special, I think.
Fantastic. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us here tonight on the Rattler vlog. We wish you all the best with your education and your academics, and your sister probably watching this on the replay in Ontario. We
Yeah.
want to say hi to her, and of course your
Hmm.
parents back home there. Uh, Thank you for a couple of years of your life here and giving us a chance to watch you play towards the end. Anyway, not so
Hmm.
much in that first year, but we definitely
Yeah.
appreciate that. All right. And
For
finally, who
sure.
should we get in an upcoming Rattler vlog? I want you to recommend
Oh,
anybody, whether it was a former teammate or just anyone associated with the Rattlers in any way.
for sure. Okay, so I was thinking about this one before because I thought you might ask. So I would like to nominate Coach Doug Grimm because I
Yes.
think he would have definitely some interesting things to share and some good insight on the volleyball world. So yeah.
Okay. What is there anything specifically we should ask him that I might not even be aware of? That
Oh,
maybe only an
um,
insider in the team might know about. What should we ask him when we get him on?
well, I think maybe it's not common knowledge, but Doug is a big pickleball player, so he has lots of cool pickleball stories, and I hear he's pretty good. So maybe he would like to give us some tips or something like that.
I don't think I've ever heard the terms cool pickleball stories ever said in the same sentence before. That's crazy.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
he definitely has some good ones. I've heard some.
All right. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it, and all the best to you going forward from here.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care.
See ya.
All right. There she goes, Jennifer Saj, joining us now on the Rattler vlog. Once again, guys, if you have any connection with the Rattlers, whether you're a student athlete or an alumni, we would love to get you on here. So reach out to Patrick, and we'll plan for it. We'll make it happen. On behalf of Jennifer, thank you for watching. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time on the Rattler vlog. What's going on, guys? Rattler vlog, episode 56. Yikes! Somebody needs to shave. I mean.